Hey everyone, it's Dr. Ramani. Welcome back to this YouTube channel on narcissism and narcissistic relationships, and also about healing and growing after narcissistic abuse. Gentle reminder, if you really want to do a deeper dive on healing, you can go to the video notes and get more information on that. But here's the question for today. Put your answer in the comments. Why are survivors of narcissistic abuse afraid of anger? What do you think? I'd love to hear your thoughts, especially if you're a survivor. Are you afraid of anger? And if so, why do you think that is? You know, to me, what's so interesting are the kinds of emotions that are considered sort of permissible in survivors of narcissistic abuse. We expect to see sadness. We expect to see anxiety or even fear. Irritability is on the fence, but anger, that's where things get a little bit tricky. Now, when we look at the list of universal human emotions, anger is right there at the top of the list. It's a normal emotion. Human beings, we get angry when things are unjust, when our rights or the rights of other people we care about are violated. It's a normal emotion, right? Anger, I actually think, is kind of a cool emotion because it can be a real motivator. When we are angry enough, we will often try to change something or say something or do something, right? But somehow, we have sort of a stereotype or a template of what a survivor or someone experiencing narcissistic abuse is supposed to look like. We expect them to look sad, deflated, anxious, worried, depleted. Not angry, though. So why are survivors put off by their own anger? Because let's face it, and I say this as a survivor, lots of us are really angry. Well, first, it's likely because anger is so often conflated with rage. And rage and anger are different things. Rage is the dysregulated step-sibling of anger. Rage is out of control, it tends to be disproportionate, and may even unsettle other people. And rage is often what is observed in narcissistic people. They don't just get angry, they go nuclear. It's very reactive. There's a difference. Secondly, many of us got messages that our anger was unwarranted, especially in childhood if we had narcissistic parents. Remember, narcissistic folks don't like our anger. They feel judged or even shamed by it. It can threaten their sense of domination or their desire for domination and control. But basically, they don't like anyone else's anger. If we do get angry, we're often called dramatic or unhinged or out of control, or we're extra. So our anger has been clipped and shaved away for years. So we feel as though we don't even have the right to express it. As children, if you had a narcissistic parent and you dared to express anger, then you very likely incurred your parents' wrath, shame, and rage. Third, survivors are so confused after the gaslighting and manipulation that they don't even know if their anger is permissible. Many survivors, again, think, maybe I'm the one who's wrong. Maybe I have no right to feel this way. Maybe this is normal. Maybe this is my fault. So then the anger turns into worry, self-doubt, and self-blame. Fourth, survivors are often scared by their own anger. Let's face it, anger is a sign that something isn't right. And trauma bonding can mean that anger is an uncomfortable emotion that we are not supposed to express. Survivors may be afraid of the many things that I'm talking about, but it's also a sign, the anger is also a sign that this relationship isn't healthy. And that may imply that you need to take some kind of action. And that need to take action can feel uncomfortable and scary to have to do. Let's face it, there tends to be room for only one person's anger in a narcissistic relationship, and it ain't yours. In narcissistic relationships, they hold the emotional thermostat. They set the temperature, and they get to take ownership on all emotion and dictate it, and get to decide which ones you are allowed to have. And as you can guess, anger does not tend to be on that list of permissible emotions. A key to healing is finding a way to be with your anger, to give it permission. If someone does something to piss you off, be pissed. Be with that feeling of anger. Take it apart. Hold it in your hands and ask yourself, what is happening here? Why am I feeling the anger? Name it. Call it anger. Anger doesn't mean you have to leave. It doesn't even mean that you have to express it. to the narcissistic person. But by being with the anger, you may actually get out of the trauma-bonded haze for a minute and then reflect on what the issues are that are bringing up the anger. Most survivors of narcissistic abuse learn to silence their anger a long time ago, to turn it into other emotions. Be with your anger and use it to your advantage. And no, don't worry, it won't get the best of you. It's not as though 50 years or 30 years or even 6 months of anger are going to erupt out of you and leave you raging uncontrollably. I think some people are afraid of their anger getting out of control, because even that past anger can become a useful tool to start understanding your choices, feelings, and experiences. All of these emotions, sadness, joy, anger, fear, anxiety, surprise, they're temporary, like all emotions, right? They come and go. The problem is that some of them scare us because of our histories, and we try to bottle them up. And narcissistic people don't want us to have our own emotional world anyhow. Let your anger flow. Let it be a real teacher. Again, you don't need to pronounce it from the rooftops. And honestly, sharing anger with a narcissistic person is going to get you nowhere really, really fast. But be aware of it. Pay attention to it. This is where that work of turning inward and saying, yep, I'm feeling angry. This is my emotion. My emotions are always warranted because they're your emotion. Give yourself this time and space to do that. And then take that as the lesson you need to decide, what do I want to do in this relationship? But I understand anger is a very complex history with so many of us. That anger was such a forbidden state for us to be in since we were small children, that to have it now doesn't make sense. And we also know that sometimes anger can be scary because, whether for reasons of gender or culture or anything, we're taught that it's an unacceptable emotion. All emotions are acceptable. Listen to that anger because, like I said, it can be a real teacher. Thanks again.